Part 34. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 338. This breath? Yejing looked around and saw that the mountains were full of miners wearing commoners. If you didn't look carefully, they all looked exactly the same, and you couldn't tell who was who. But this familiar aura made Yejing very concerned. There was a faint smell of decay in the air, with a hint of wretchedness in it, but the people he knew were all upright, handsome, and great men like him. I don't know the wretched villain at all. Yejing shook his head. Maybe it was an illusion? He felt relieved, pointed at a miner who was carrying him on his back, and said casually, "Come here, tell me what happened recently." The miner was only a few meters away from him, with only his back walking towards the distance. When he heard Yejing's call, his whole body suddenly froze, he lowered his head, and the speed of his feet increased a lot. As if he didn't hear it, he quickly left in the opposite direction of Yejing. "Hey! I'm calling you. Why are you running?" Yejing was stunned for a moment and shouted again. However, the miner he called moved faster, taking one step away from him. This time, Yejing finally came to his senses. There was something going on. There was a playful smile on his face, and he followed him in 3 or 2 steps. "Didn't you hear me calling you?" Yejing held the miner's shoulders and said calmly. The captured miner trembled all over, lowered his head even lower, covered half of his face with his hand, covered his mouth and stammered, "What do I mean? I still have a job. Sir, please let me go." Yejing smelled the smell of decaying dust from this man's body. This familiar smell came from him. This miner was thin, as if he was malnourished, but his skin was very white and tender, and he looked like he didn't want to be exposed to wind and rain at all. And hanging on his waist was a shovel covered with grey mud. After seeing the shovel, Yejing was stunned for a moment, then thought of a person in his mind. Turning around, he stood in front of the miner, suddenly raised his head, and a familiar face appeared in his sight. Yejing smiled, very brightly. "Hey, isn't this Zhao Xingban, the tomb robber? Why did you get so miserable? You turned out to be a miner. Isn't this the same Zhao horizontal bar who once competed for Omega sublight on small planet fragments and competed for the sun's essence in the secret realm of the dead? The last time I saw him was in the secret realm of the dead." Even though he was very angry, he still couldn't defeat the undead knight, and was finally beaten and fled. The situation was urgent at the time, and Zhao Xiangbaoan was not an important player, so Yejing had long forgotten about him. Who knew that we would meet again in a place like this now? This guy's nose is really smart. Wherever there are good things, he will be there. From Omega Light to Sun Essence, wherever there are good things, you will definitely see this tomb robber. Yejing smiled, and Zhao Xingbang also smiled, but his smile was a little stiff, and a cold sweat quietly dripped from his forehead. "Well, hello and bye." Zhao Xingbang hurriedly said hello, then turned around and ran away. But it all fell into Yejing's hands. He wanted to run away. Is it possible? The strength in Yejing's hands suddenly increased, and he fixed Zhao's horizontal bar in place, and said with a smile, "Wait a minute, let's meet again after a long separation and catch up on old times." Zhao Hanbang was slightly angry and said in a low voice, "We are not friends. There is nothing to reminisce about. If you don't let me go, I won't be polite." "Haha, I would like to see why you are so rude." Yejing sneered, reached out and patted the soil shovel on his waist, and said with a smile on his face, "Use the golden shovel of your nugget sect Kyande Dankhuan? Oh, by the way, now it is no longer a golden shovel, but a mud shovel. Are you so excited about the things left by your ancestors? If you and Elder Jia see it, I won't be able to beat you to death." Zhao horizontally barred one side of his body, avoiding Yejing's arm, and said angrily, "Yejing, don't bully others too much, I'm not someone to be trifled with." His palm had already been placed on the golden shovel at his waist, as if he was about to take it out in the next second. Yejing shrugged his shoulders, looked at the surrounding scenery, and said casually, "Are you sure you dare? You who always dig graves and rob graves, but you have always gone to work as a miner in someone else's house. Why is this? I'm very curious." Yejing squinted his eyes and stared at Zhao Xingban, who was sweating coldly. He said with a slight threat in his tone, "I heard that someone dug a hole in the obsidian vein and lost dozens of kilograms of obsidian. The thief has not been caught yet." Zhao Xingban's face was full of panic, his eyes were erratic, he looked around, and said in a panic, "I don't know what you are talking about." "Don't admit it? Easy to handle." Yejing gently patted Zhao Xingban's shoulder, then swept the dust off his body very kindly, and said very friendly, "I think you are just a small miner. I know they're Big Dipper pirates. The second leader is outside now. Do you want me to help you call her up to promote you?" "Yejing." Zhao horizontal bar suddenly roared in a low voice and stared at Yejing with red eyes. He knew that the moment he was discovered, he would be exposed. Man proposes, God disposes. He never thought that in such a far place from Blue Star, he would meet someone who knew him, and he was an enemy, not a friend. He had been lurking in the Big Dipper pirates for several months before he sneaked into the obsidian vein. With the ability of the golden shovel to cut off space, he created a storage space that no one knew about, and hid dozens of kilograms of obsidian in it. If it weren't for Yejing, even if he dug up the obsidian vein, no one would know that he did it. Because no one could find where he hid the obsidian. Now, he was recognized by Yejing just after he started. If he was really handed over to the leader of the pirate group, he would definitely die without a burial place. Zhao Danggong secretly cried out in his heart that he was unlucky, so he had to endure the pain and approached Yejing, gnashing his teeth and whispering, "I'll give you 1/10, and we'll go our separate ways. Let's just leave it at that." As expected of a scoundrel, this is the good thing about dealing with smart people. He understands without saying anything. It's just a pity that he didn't understand it very well. 10%? Are you sending away beggars? Yejing ignored him and turned to shout down the mountain, "Qinglian, you go up." 82%. Don't go too far. I found something good up there. 73%. This is the limit. There's someone here you seem to know. 64%. Do you really want to fight to the death? Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 339. The fish is dead and the net is broken. Yejing's expression changed, and he looked coldly at Zhao Xingbang, who was full of anger, and said calmly, "What you said is a bit wrong, right? The fish will die, but the net will not be broken. Then what do you think? This is all obtained through my hard work and hard work through normal channels. Don't go too far. Normal channel? That's right, in the eyes of people like you, things from other people's homes are just normal channels. Work hard? There's nothing wrong with it, that's your job." However, what made him very unhappy was that there were dozens of kilograms of obsidian. Several 100 million. He fought with all his life, but he couldn't save the money for decades. But what? People can steal hundreds of millions with just a few clicks of their fingers. Isn't that unfair? Is this the difference between hard workers and skilled workers? Sure enough, there are still skilled people in this world who are easy to mess around with. After Yejing sighed slightly in his heart, he pondered for 2 seconds and said, "Have you heard that sentence?" "Which sentence?" "Half of it when we meet. I'll give you some Nima coins." Zhao Xingbang was furious in an instant. He pulled off the golden shovel from his waist and stabbed Yejing in the abdomen with lightning speed. With his extremely mysterious golden shovel that has been passed down for thousands of generations, if an ordinary practitioner was stabbed into the stomach, he would probably die instantly. Although Yejing was thinking about obsidian, he was also guarding against Zhao's sudden attack on the horizontal bar. After all, the distance between the two people was less than 1 meter, and they were even close to each other. Moreover, he also knows that if he does not push others to a desperate situation, he will always think that there is a chance for a comeback. Just waiting for you to seek your own death. Yejing sneered in his heart, took out the golden knife with his backhand, and blocked it directly in front of his abdomen. Bite! There was an extremely clear sound of metal collision, and Zhao's hand holding the golden shovel suddenly stopped, unable to move forward an inch. Blocked. Zhao Hanbang was shocked, his eyes widened, and he glared at Yejing angrily, "You are actually guarding me." Yejing was very angry at his words. "Damn it! How shameless! You've already brought me up, and you still have the nerve to ask." In just a moment, there was a sneak attack and a defense. After contact, the two of them took back their weapons in a tacit understanding. After all, there are many people and it is difficult to see. Zhao Xingbang sighed and said with a look of decadence, "Okay, just as you said, 50-50, I am really unlucky for 8 lifetimes when I meet you." While he was talking, he actually killed another carbine, picked up the golden shovel and slashed towards Yejing's neck. "I hope to meet you." While Yejing was talking and laughing, he spontaneously took out the golden knife again and held it in front of his neck, as if they had agreed upon it. "Bite!" Zhao Xingbang was furious, "You don't trust me. I'll die if I trust you." Yejing said angrily, to each other, "Stop playing tricks and hand over your things quickly." After that, he took out his storage ring from the 9-palace grid in the furnace. He found that this 9-square grid had been used as storage equipment by him, and now it also contained a battleship and 7 aircraft, which were all his family assets. "Now," Zhao Xingban said with a struggle on his face, "how about waiting for me to go out in a few days?" "Fart, where can I find you when you get out?" Yejing urged impatiently, "Hurry, the second leader will be here soon." Okay, this is over, you just treat me as if I don't exist, okay. Okay." Zhao Xingbang's face clearly showed pain. He lightly scratched the golden shovel in the air, and a small 3-inch long crack appeared. "Put the storage ring closer so no one finds it." "It's okay. There are low-level practitioners and ordinary people around here, so you can't find it at all." Yejing carefully brought the storage ring to the small crack. Then, obsidian stones the size of a thumb flowed out from the cracks in space and flowed directly into the storage ring. The two grown men began to engage in dirty pie transactions. However, just a few seconds after the pie transaction was carried out, the two of them suddenly smelled a fragrance, and a refreshing fragrance hit their nostrils. "What does it smell like?" "Have no idea." After the two looked at each other, they both turned their heads and exploded instantly. "I saw a little dwarf who had been coming over for some time. His crystal clear green eyes were looking straight at the transaction site between the two of them." Swish, swish, swish. The cold sweat on Yejing's face instantly flowed down, and his heart almost jumped out of fear. He looked at Xiao Qinglian blankly and said dryly, "When did you come, and how much did you hear?" Xiao Qinglian looked at the space crack where obsidian could come out, and said expressionlessly, "Not much, let's start from the time when we meet half of it." "Don't you know everything? Who is this little girl? Why does she look so familiar?" Zhao Xiangbang didn't know Xiao Qinglian's identity and thought he was just a miner's child. He put his hand on Xiao Qinglian's head and rubbed it gently. Then, he saw Xiao Qinglian stretching out her jade-like arms towards the crack in space, pinching a small piece of obsidian and throwing it into his mouth. Crunch. Zhao Hanbang's face instantly stiffened, his legs began to tremble, and the hand on Xiao Qinglian's head slowly retracted. Yejing said with a crying face, "She is the second leader of the pirate group." Whoosh. Zhao Xingbang didn't say anything, turned around and ran away. I'm playing Nima coins. No matter how fast he moves, can he be faster than Xiao Qinglian? Xiao Qinglian lightly stretched out a hand and pressed it from top to bottom, as if there was an invisible mountain peak, directly pressing on Zhao's body on the horizontal bar. Zhao Xingbang, who was pressed to the ground, was about to cry without tears. What kind of sin have I suffered? Ye Jing was also panicking at this moment. Being caught doing on-site trading would be life-threatening. He hastily put it aside. Don't get me wrong, I just want to collect evidence. After I get the lost obsidian, I will definitely hand it over to the big boss. Young man Ye Jing, you can't be trusted. Zhao Xingbang wailed. Xiao Qinglian just glanced sideways at Ye Jing and ignored him. Instead, she walked in front of Zhao on the horizontal bar and stepped on his back. Obsidian, hand it over. Her strength almost broke Zhao's waist on the horizontal bar, causing him to scream in pain. Yes, yes, be gentle. Zhao Hangang hurriedly made a hole in the void, and small pieces of obsidian fell out of it. Then, Xiao Qinglian stretched out her head and mouth, received the pieces piece by piece, and swallowed them into her stomach. Ye Jing was not only ashamed after seeing this scene. The big leader really blinded her by sending you here. This pirate group takes jujube pills. Thanks for the reward wong 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 wong. What do you want to do? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bouletin Ji Bayet. Chapter 340. Under Zhao Hanban's desperate gaze, Xiao Qinglian ate all the obsidians into her stomach one by one. She felt comfortable, but Zhao Hanban cried. These are the properties he dug up at the risk of his life. Now it's like beef jerky, piece by piece going into other people's stomachs. Before, he didn't even know what heartbreaking pain was, but now, he knew. This is really heartbreaking. After eating dozens of kilograms of obsidian, Xiao Qinglian smacked her mouth, and a satisfied smile appeared on her cute little face. This was the first time Ye Jing saw Xiao Qinglian smile so brightly. As long as you can eat enough, a foodie is happy. He had no choice but to give Zhao Hanbar a sad look. In fact, he felt quite distressed. If Xiao Qinglian hadn't intervened, the dozens of kilograms of obsidian would have been half of his. But now, there are only 7 obsidians in the storage ring, not even a pound, which is really a pity. This was the first time that Xiao Qinglian had eaten so much obsidian in one go. She was very happy. Her eyes softened when she looked at Zhao Xingban. She would not hate anyone who could feed her. Thinking about it, Xiao Qinglian moved her little feet away from Zhao's back and let him stand up. Thief, follow me to see the eldest sister. For the sake of dozens of kilograms of obsidian, I guarantee that you will not die. Xiao Qinglian raised her head and looked up at Zhao Hanbar, with a look of assurance on her face. Xiao Qinglian's words really shocked Zhao Hanbang. He looked at Xiao Qinglian in shock, as if he didn't believe his ears. What? You've taken advantage of dozens of kilograms of obsidian, and you still want to hand it over to me? You little girl are too evil, aren't you? People don't forget the well diggers when they are drinking water. You just want to sell it to me? Can Zhao horizontal bar agree? Cannot. Zhao Xingbang shrugged his shoulders, spread his hands helplessly and said, Why do you arrest me? I didn't commit any crime. Xiao Qinglian's face turned gloomy. How dare you talk back? You stole dozens of kilograms of obsidian, and your aunt took the blame for you. Zhao Xiangbang curled his lips and said calmly, You said I stole dozens of kilograms of obsidian. Where is the evidence? Where is the evidence? Where is the obsidian? Ye Jing listened on the side and burst into laughter without holding back. As soon as he said this, he knew that Zhao Xingbang should be fine. Silly boy, you have already eaten the evidence. Is this the legendary fool? Gained knowledge. Xiao Qinglian was confused by Zhao Xingbang's question, and touched her belly with a cute expression. In the blink of an eye, a blush appeared on her flawless face, and she said hesitantly, "There is no evidence. To be honest, it's kind of cute." Zhao Xiangbang moved his gaze downwards and looked at Xiao Qinglian's round and swollen belly. He couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth. He endured the heartache and said without changing his face, "In this case, no one can prove that I am a thief. What should we do?" Xiao Qinglian looked confused and a little at a loss. If she didn't catch the thief, she would definitely be the one to take the blame. Well, although the dozens of kilograms of obsidian lost in the end were really eaten by her, she didn't steal them after all. Suddenly, Xiao Qinglian seemed to remember that there was another client present, so she turned to look at Ye Jing, wanting to get some advice from him. At the same time, Zhao Xingbang also stared at Ye Jing with vicious eyes and pointed at his storage ring in a very subtle way, indicating that he was also involved. Ye Jing, who was just watching the show from the side, became the center of attention. After being stunned for a moment, a heavy expression appeared on his face. "When we rushed to the obsidian mine, we happened to find the thief who stole the obsidian. We wanted to steal it and arrest him, but unfortunately the thief was very powerful and used all kinds of tricks. Even Qinglian and I couldn't stop him. After a fierce battle, the thief escaped. However, although the lost obsidian was not recovered, we can guarantee that no more obsidian will be lost in the future. Ye Jing's ability to make up lies is getting stronger and stronger. Is this okay?" Xiao Qinglian looked suspicious. If people of her level really got into a fight, to be frightening, she could smash the Big Dipper to pieces within 3 hours. If this kind of war was really fabricated, then why was the Big Dipper land intact and there were no scars on her body? Besides, if this were true, would Ye Jing still be able to participate in a battle of this level? That will work. Ye Jing nodded with certainty, thinking to himself that if he threw it away, he would just throw it away. Everyone would think it was Qinglian who ate it, so he just kept silent about it. Now just send it up one step and that's it. Just drop it as you like. If we really follow up, the worst case scenario is that Zhao Xingbang will be confessed, since there is evidence in his ring anyway. Then it's settled. Xiao Qinglian didn't hesitate. She had no choice of her own and had no choice but to listen to Ye Jing. "Let's go back. Keep an eye on this man and don't let him steal anything again." Xiao Qinglian gave instructions. Ye Jing nodded and looked sideways at Zhao Xingbang, who dared to be angry but dared not speak. This time he was being stared at, and he should probably choose to leave Baidu Star Land. On the way back, Ye Jing suddenly thought that he still had a mission. And right in front of him, there happened to be a target suitable for this task. "Did you know that a big thing happened in the solar system recently?" Ye Jing came up to Zhao Danggong, looking solemn and speaking in a low voice. "What's going on?" Zhao Danggong asked subconsciously. He had been squatting in the Big Dipper for dozens of days and had no contact with the outside world, so he naturally didn't know. On Pluto, the remains of the true saint appeared, that is, the cemetery. Ye Jing had a serious expression, as if he was sharing his secret with a friend. "What? Is it true?" Zhao Danggong exclaimed, but the next second his tone changed, and he didn't believe Ye Jing a little. "Of course it's true." Afterwards, Ye Jing told Zhao Danggong everything that had happened during this period, adding fuel to the fire, from the annihilation of the first expeditionary force to the existence of the true saint on Pluto, without missing a single one. Every time Ye Jing said a word, Zhao Danggong's heart would jump, and his face would show exaggerated shock. "Also, I heard that the true saint has fallen, but the dead spirit of his body is still there and he can still move, just like a controlled corpse. Yejing had seen Zhao Danggong's corpse controlling technique a long time ago, and it was terrifying. Sure enough, when Zhao Danggong heard about controlling corpses, he couldn't hold back, raised the golden shovel and turned around to leave. Where are you going? I swear by my 997 generations of ancestors that the true saint of Pluto is my ancestor. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 341. Yejing looked at the excited Zhao Xingbang with a speechless expression, and questioned, "You said he is your ancestor, then why are you wielding this golden shovel for digging holes?" Zhao Xingbang said matter-of-factly, "Of course I poked my ancestors' graves. No. I asked my ancestors to go home. You are so shameless. I just said it casually and made up a few lies. You are even more ruthless and made up an ancestor for yourself." However, Yejing also had a trace of doubt in his heart. Zhao Xingbang was known as the Nugget Gate single passer for thousands of generations, but he had never heard of such a force on Blue Star. If it had been passed down for thousands of generations, there would be no news at all. He even said that apart from Zhao Xingban, he had never seen anyone else in the Nuggets. If it is true that what he said is true, the Nugget Gate has been passed down for thousands of generations. How long is that time? If one generation takes 50 years, 1,000 generations will take 50,000 years. Damn it! Yejing suddenly felt a thrill all over his body and cast his strange eyes on Zhao Xingban. Isn't this another relic from the previous era? Oh my god, what happened recently? Is there another wave of resurgence after the resurgence of spiritual energy? Why are relics from the past era popping up like mushrooms after a rain? The world tree, the little green lotus, the body of a suspected true saint on Pluto, and a gold nugget gate. Of course, this is just his guess. It is still uncertain whether there is a force called Nugget Gate, or it may just be the identity that Zhao Hanbang made up for himself. Zhao Xingbang wanted to take advantage of this opportunity to escape, but unfortunately Xiao Qinglian did not give him a chance. Xiao Qinglian looked at Zhao horizontal bar with flat eyes and said sinisterly, "If you take one step, one leg will be broken, 2 steps will cause 2, 3 steps will cause 3, and 4 steps will kill you." In an instant, Zhao, who was about to take the first step, immediately retracted his steps and smiled awkwardly. "All 3 legs have to be broken? My sister-in-law knows so much that she can't be offended." After leaving for less than an hour, the Tianshu Hall suddenly became busy. People were suddenly coming and going in the originally deserted area, and they were all practitioners. Most of the cultivators running back and forth outside Tianshu Hall were in the Destiny realm, and there were also a few in the Transcendent realm that exuded a terrifying aura. Zhao Xingbar's scalp was numb when he saw them. Am I just stealing under the eyes of such a group of ruthless people? It's really nice to be able to save a small life. What's going on? Why are you so busy all of a sudden? Yejing said doubtfully. Xiao Qinglian shook her head and expressed that she was unclear. She held Yejing's hand, and Yejing held Zhao's horizontal bar, and the 3 of them walked into the Tianshu Hall. I saw that in the hall, the beautiful leader who had always been very unserious suddenly became serious. At some point, she put on a flame war robe, her long hair that was originally shawl style was styled into a high ponytail, and her alluring face was painted with thick red makeup, which was exciting. The robe that wrapped her body still couldn't hide her pair of peaks and long legs that made people's blood flow, especially at her feet, which were wearing a pair of high-heeled shoes. A brave lady with both good looks and martial arts appeared. With heavy makeup and neat clothes, is this going out? The big leader seemed to have not seen any of them. He had a cold expression and commanded the other people in the hall arrogantly. His noble temperament added a lot to her, and Yejing was slightly distracted. The last time I lost my mind because of a beautiful woman was when I met Siu. The two women had many similarities. They both had heavy makeup, they were royal sisters, they were both DG, they were both very attractive. Unfortunately, it has nothing to do with me. After all, Yejing was someone who had seen big scenes, but after being stunned for a moment, he looked away. Zhao Xingbang on the other side was already dumbfounded, his eyes were filled with fascination, and he couldn't help but murmured, "Hello, my wife. Wake up, you stinky tomb robber, and stop daydreaming. It's like a dead nerd wanting to marry a goddess as his wife, it's impossible." Yejing kindly slapped Zhao Xingba's abdomen and reminded him in a low voice, "Stop looking and wipe your nosebleed. It's not polite." Zhao Xingbang came to his senses, wiped the nosebleed, and nodded repeatedly, "Yes, yes, it's impolite to stare at a beautiful woman like this. Especially staring at other people's wives like this. You, prepare energy within half an hour. Yes. You guys, prepare 2 main ships within an hour and set sail immediately. Yes. You, go and check the list of personnel. Those who are above the Destiny realm will accompany the team. Yes. Third leader, go and take out 50% of the assets and supplies in the treasury and take it with you. Yes. You, contact the 4th child quickly and ask him to meet us in the outer city. If you are too late, your life will be cut off. Yes. Preparations will be completed within an hour. Anyone who is late will be beaten. Set off in 2 hours. Anyone who is slow will die." At this moment, Yejing finally felt it from her decisive tone, cold eyes, and killing intent. She is the boss who controls the tens of thousands of people in the Big Dipper pirate group. This is simply so domineering. No one dares to disobey an order. Before, he thought that this big leader was just a showman, but now it seems that it is easy to establish such a powerful person in the sea of stars. It's just that you can't see it normally. What are you still standing there for? Get out of here. In a flash, just a blink of an eye, the Tianshu hall was full of people in the last second, and the next second they all dispersed and went to prepare for their work. When everyone else dispersed, the leader was obviously relieved, his body softened, and he collapsed on the golden chair. She didn't like to use orders to force others, but there was no way, there was no order without rules. When the people dispersed, she saw Xiao Qinglian and others, and her red eyes burning with flames flickered and lit up, like a phoenix airborne, hugged Xiao Qinglian in her arms, and kneaded her hard. It feels so good to have comfort after work. Xiao Qinglian had a dark face and said nothing. She felt that her dignity was gone. Let me go. Please let me go. Wu Hongkaiu, if you don't let go, I won't be polite. It turned out that the leader's name was Wu Hongkaiu, and people with the surname Wu were rare now. Zhao Danggong looked at Wu Hongkaiu, who was kneading Xiao Qinglian repeatedly, turned his head stiffly, and looked at Yejing. He looked confused. What was going on? What else could it be? Child, your first love died in an instant. Yejing shook his head and said nothing. After the leader had had enough, Yejing asked, "Where are you going in such a hurry?" Wu Hongkaiu said casually without even looking at Yejing. The solar system's 3-yearly large auction has started ahead of schedule. Time is urgent. We must go to the outer city immediately. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 342. Outer City. Located at the center of the Sun and Pluto, it is the transit point of the entire solar system. Outer City is a self-contained area, which occupies a piece of medium-sized planetary fragment, with an area about 10 times that of the Demon City. Its starland is named Outer Starland. Outer City is a city owned by all races in the solar system. In the city, you can not only see humans, but also fire demons, elves, Saturn titans, Mercury mermaids, Neptune sea kings, etc. Among these races, the most powerful is the Sea Kings who enslaved the entire mermaids. Of course, saying that it is the strongest is only one-sided. There are many sea races and many strong people in the tribe, but the human race is not bad either. It's just that the human race is widely distributed throughout the Star Sea, so in terms of overall strength, it is still a little worse than the Sea Kings. If we don't care about the race, just talk about individual strength, then in the entire solar system, the world tree of the Elf clan is the strongest. Although the world tree is rooted on Jupiter and cannot move, it has a gentle personality. As long as you don't hurt its people, don't break branches from it, and don't steal spring water from it, it generally won't harm the lives of foreigners. However, a gentle personality does not mean it is weak. Its body that covers the entire planet makes it impossible for any enemy to start, and its branches that can stretch to tens of millions of miles can poke the entire solar system. Naturally, no one dares to mess with such a ruthless thing. As the habitat of many races, the outer city is naturally in chaos. Almost every day, there are people fighting because of racial hatred or other reasons. These people will choose to resolve disputes outside the outer city. Because, fighting is prohibited in the outer city. This is the best way to protect the city. People from various races are sent to establish a judgment court, which is specifically used to control the outer city and prevent chaos in the outer city. And the judges of the judgment court are at least strong people in the extraordinary realm. There are about 20 people, more or less. It is because there are so many powerful people protecting the outer city and prohibiting fighting in the city, so the outer city has become a place of filth. All creatures who have committed crimes and people who have committed crimes on the blue star will flee to the outer city to find a place to live. Over time, the outer city has become the city of sin. Such a city of sin can continuously attract powerful people from all races. It is for this reason that someone seized this opportunity, which should have happened decades ago. As the largest chamber of commerce in the Star Sea, the Holy Light Chamber of Commerce has set its sights on the outer city. Starting decades ago, the Holy Light Chamber of Commerce has held large-scale auctions in the outer city every year to auction precious items and open a free trade market, allowing all practitioners to trade freely. This large-scale auction will last for 7 days each time, and it is full every day. It turned out that this large-scale auction was only responsible for the outer city, but one day, at the second auction, a sacred dragon egg appeared. Since then, the auction in the outer city has become popular in the entire solar system. That's the dragon clan. Not a lizard, not a winged reptile, but a real dragon. On the blue star, there is also a real dragon, a flaming dragon, which has its nest on the top of Mount Everest. It is unscrupulous and no one dares to provoke it. Because it can't be beaten. Dragon armor is 90% immune to physical attacks. The endless energy dragon scales are 90% immune to spiritual attacks. High-level energy such as non-solar essence, omega sublight, and planetary core cannot be hurt. Don't think that the flaming dragon on the top of Mount Everest is only at the peak of the extraordinary realm, but even such an extraordinary realm, the 3 disasters and half-saints dare not provoke. Killing it can't kill it, and killing it will waste high-level energy. If you really anger it, a mouthful of dragon flame will destroy a city. Who can withstand this? This is a mature dragon. And that year, what appeared at the auction in the outer city was a dragon egg that was not even a juvenile. In the same year, the auction of the outer city was extremely popular. In the second year, forces from all over the solar system came here to buy treasures at high prices, and the reputation of the outer city auction spread further and further. A few years later, the overwhelmed Holy Light Chamber of Commerce issued a Zingai notice to change the outer city auction to once every 3 years. Now, it should not be the day for the outer city auction. The real day should be November 11th of this year. It was half a year earlier. After a while, Xiao Qinglian was freed from Wu Hongkai's fragrant and soft breasts. Her little face was red. I don't know if it was because she was holding it back or because someone was embarrassed to see her. After a pause, Wu Hongkai looked at Yejing with a pair of flaming eyes and said leisurely, "Did you catch the thief who stole the obsidian?" As soon as these words came out, Zhao Danggong trembled all over and stiffened. He couldn't help but give Yejing a pleading look. If Yejing gave him up at this time, he would be dead. Yejing was also a little confused. "Why are you looking at me? I'm just a bystander. Didn't you ask Xiao Qinglian to check it out?" Perhaps the leader also knew that Xiao Qinglian didn't have that ability. Yejing thought secretly in his heart and said the words he had prepared in advance. It was a super strong man who was short of money. He came to steal something, or maybe he wanted to go to the auction. After being discovered by Qinglian, the two had a fight and the man fled. Yejing said without changing his expression, as if what he said was true, without any pause. "Oh, that's it?" Wu Hongkai responded in a long voice, not sure whether she believed it or not. "But it doesn't matter anymore." After Xiao Qinglian took a breath, she felt guilty and hurriedly changed the subject. "Can you not feel guilty?" In the end, dozens of kilograms of obsidian entered her stomach. "Are you going to the auction in the outer city?" Wu Hongkai stepped on her high heels and walked awkwardly back to the golden chair and sat down. She didn't ask Zhao what the horizontal bar was for. She just waved her hand and motioned for them to come and sit. After a few people were seated, Wu Hongkai said, "Perhaps because of the Holy Land relics, this outer city auction has been moved forward. It is scheduled for May 1st. There is only more than a month away from now. We have to set off quickly. Go to the outer city. In more than a month, whether it is long or short, if the information is well informed, all the major forces in the solar system will know about the ruins of the Holy Realm. Before heading to the Holy Ruins, it is naturally impossible to miss the auction held every 3 years in the outer city. It is even said that after all the forces gathered in the outer city and participated in the 7-day auction, they might even go directly to Pluto to open up the ruins of the Holy Realm." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Buletin G. Bayet. Chapter 343. 2 hours passed in a flash. When everything was ready, Wu Hongkai turned to look at Xiao Qinglian and asked, "Do you want to go with me?" Xiao Qinglian asked back, "Do you dare to leave me alone at home?" Suddenly, Wu Hongkai was a little embarrassed. She really didn't dare to leave Xiao Qinglian alone in Tianxia Star. This time, she might not be away for a long time. Once she left, Xiao Qinglian would be lawless and no one could control her. She was afraid that when she came back from the long journey, all the mines in her family would be eaten up. "But, after I go out, I have something to do and I don't have time to take care of you." Wu Hongkai looked embarrassed and worried like an old mother. Xiao Qinglian said expressionlessly, "I'm not a child. I don't need anyone to take care of me." After saying this, she pointed at Yejing. "Just let him be my follower." "Okay, it's a happy decision." Wu Hongkai replied. "Yejing. What about my opinion? I was going to retreat after going to the outer city. What about me? What about me?" Zhao Danggong wanted to leave the Baiduxing pirates immediately, but when he saw the leader, he gave up the idea instantly. It's not easy to find a wife in this era. You. Xiao Qinglian glanced at him and said lightly, "Just be Yejing's follower." Zhao Danggong was confused. "Let's go." One person followed another, and under the leadership of Wu Hongkai, they came to the shipyard of Tianxia Star Land. The empty and huge shipyard was already full of warships in rows and rows. Hundreds of warships were shining silver, neatly arranged, and at the forefront of the warships, there were 2 huge monsters parked. Two Star Sea main ships. One was called Yaoguang ship and the other was called Tianxia ship. These are the foundation of the Baiduxing pirates, and they are the treasures they have accumulated for decades. Next to the 2,000-meter main ships, there were many practitioners, almost more than 100 of them, each with strong energy and aura. These people were all at the lowest level of the heavenly fate realm. In front of them, the three leaders had been waiting for a long time. Wu Hongqiu had a stern face, a sharp expression, and an invisible aura surged silently. She slowly walked to the door of the Tianxia ship, facing her subordinates, and said calmly, "Get on board, set off." After leaving these 4 words, she walked onto the Tianxia ship by herself, and Xiao Qinglian followed her as if no one was around. She didn't know any of these people, and there was no need to greet them politely. Yejing was the same, looking straight ahead, as if he had returned to his home, and walked into the Tianxia ship. Still too young. Zhao Danggong looked at Yejing's back and sighed secretly. This is the benefit of having someone to protect you, and you have confidence wherever you go. As he walked into the Tianxia ship, he either nodded and bowed, or smiled flatteringly, for fear of offending these big guys. After entering the Tianxia ship, Yejing was not too surprised. He had seen this kind of luxurious main ship and was very calm. What's so surprising? What's so envious? At most, I will buy one in a while. Mithril shell. Oh my god. This is the obsidian door. Oh my god. This breath, is the energy source used by the essence of the sun? Too rich, isn't it? Unlike Yejing, Zhao Danggong was shocked and exclaimed repeatedly. His eyes showed greed without any concealment, and the hand holding the golden shovel was shaking. Hold it, don't commit suicide. This really can't be dug. If he really dug it, he would probably be thrown off the main ship and thrown into the vast sea of stars. I'm going to the cockpit to take charge. Do you want to follow me or go directly to the place where I live? Wu Hongqiu said to Xiao Qinglian. Xiao Qinglian curled her lips, I don't want to see anything about work. I'm going to my residence. Okay then. Wu Hongqiu showed disappointment, pointed to the fork in the road ahead, and said, go to the right is the residential area. After pointing the way, she also specifically reminded, remember. Any building in the main ship cannot be eaten, never eat it. Still a little worried, she looked at Yejing again, and said solemnly, you must keep an eye on her. If something happens, the ship will be destroyed and people will die. Yejing nodded with a heavy face, I will try my best. I can only try my best. If she wants to chew on the ceiling randomly, can I stop her? Wu Hongqiu walked towards the cab. They walked towards the residential area. What does the symbol on it mean? After arriving at the residential area, Xiao Qinglian looked up at the letter symbols on the door and asked with a frown. This is the number of each room. This is C25. Oh, then I will live here. Xiao Qinglian was about to open the door after she finished speaking, but was stopped by Yejing. Yejing pointed maliciously at the S area not far away and whispered, sea level is for some workers to live in. We should go there. Xiao Qinglian said blankly, is there any difference? Yejing said solemnly, at least the material of the room will be very different. Then go to S area. After a few steps, when they arrived at S area, each S-level room had been hung with a sign of being in use. Even through the door, they could sense the terrifying atmosphere coming from inside. Zhao Danggong looked hesitant, are you sure we want to live here? Actually, Area C is pretty good too. What a coward! Yejing said contemptuously, and he quietly pointed at Xiao Qinglian. Don't talk, just watch. They didn't need to do anything at all. Xiao Qinglian found a room at random, raised her short legs, and kicked the door of the room. A dull sound came out. With just this light kick, a shallow pit was kicked out on the silver door. A few seconds later, the door opened. Before seeing anyone, I heard the sound first. That bastard dared to act wild in front of your uncle's door. Is he tired of living? From the door, a big, ferocious, tiger-like man walked out. He didn't see Xiao Qinglian at first glance because he was too short. His eyes were directly locked on Yejing. Just when he was about to take action, he saw Yejing grinning and pointing down. Down. The big man was slightly stunned, then lowered his head and saw Xiao Qinglian, who was looking up with an unhappy face. Instantly, the tiger turned into a cute cat. The big man's forehead was covered with a layer of sweat, and he stammered, "It turned out to be the second leader." "What's the matter?" Xiao Qinglian pointed to area expressionlessly. The big man understood immediately and turned around and left without hesitation. "This person is a Tyrannosaurus Rex, don't mess with him." When they walked into the S-level room, there was a slight tremor under their feet, followed by a buzzing sound. The Tianchu main ship started. The Baiduxing pirate group fleet set off. Target, Outer City. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 344. Just as they set off, the Blue Star 2nd Expeditionary Force, led by the Dean of the Demon Academy, is also heading towards the Outer Territory City and is expected to arrive at the Outer Territory City within a month. An S-class room may look the same from the outside, but once inside, everything changes. Rich spiritual energy assaulted the nostrils, at least twice as high as the outside world. There should be a spirit gathering array engraved inside. Incomparably gorgeous decorations, pearls, and jade murals fill the entire room. Most of these things are antiques with a long history, which were snatched by these illiterate people as decorations. This house had a master bedroom, 4 secondary bedrooms, and a kitchen and living room. Xiao Qinglian opened the door of each room and looked around, and finally walked into the largest master bedroom. After all, she likes to eat the materials in the master bedroom. Yejing glanced at the trembling Zhao horizontal bar and asked in confusion, "What's wrong with you? Why are you trembling?" Zhao Xingban's left hand tightly grasped the right hand holding the golden shovel, and said with a difficult expression, "My king's power can no longer be suppressed. I think it's your desire to die that you can no longer suppress." Seeing that he had saved a few obsidian stones, Yejing kindly reminded him, "Now the main ship has sailed. If you want to sink into the boundless sea of stars, please continue." After saying this, Zhao Xingbar's hand stopped shaking immediately. Digging for treasures is important, but life is more important. He sighed heavily and walked into the room away from Xiao Qinglian dejectedly. Yejing glanced at the 2 closed rooms thoughtfully and sighed. There is still a month's flight to the outer city. Can we arrive safely? First night. Yejing, who had no intention of sleeping, was practicing. After all, the spiritual energy in the room was very rich and could not be wasted. He is currently only at the 5th level of the underground palace realm, and more spiritual energy is flowing between the heavenly spirit and divine sea. As long as it is full, he will once again partially open the divine sea and step into the 6th level of the underground palace realm. Late at night, Yejing was concentrating on breathing out spiritual energy when he heard a creaking sound coming from his ears. "This is Xiao Qinglian's room." Yejing frowned, couldn't he? "You're not really going to start chewing on the house, are you?" He walked out of the room very curiously and walked to the door of Xiao Qinglian's room. The door was unlocked, just slightly ajar, and opened with a push. "Hello? What are you doing?" "I'm coming in." Yejing knocked on the door politely and casually entered the girl's room. That was very ungentlemanly behavior. "Uh-huh. Uh-huh. What does this mean? Come in quickly. Come in quickly." Yejing Ming understood and pushed open the door, and an unsightly scene appeared in his sight. At some point, Xiao Qinglian put on a set of light pink pajamas, with her naked white feet, her petite body facing away from Yejing, her butt raised, and half kneeling on the ground, chewing on the black gold table legs. Yejing was confused. Xiao Qinglian was stunned when she turned around and saw Yejingshi. Her red mouth was filled with brilliant metal. Her pink face turned red at a speed that was visible to the naked eye. It turned red instantly, and water appeared in her crystal clear pupils. She swallowed the black gold in her mouth and cried with shame and anger, "Didn't I tell you not to come in? Why are you still coming in? I'm not alive anymore, I don't have the face to see anyone." Yejing is ashamed. "Have you forgotten that you are an old monster who survived the last era? Now Xiao Qinglian looks like a 10-year-old girl who was caught eating secretly by her parents. Okay, let me go. I didn't see anything, don't cry." Yejing had no way to deal with such a cute little girl, so she hurriedly covered her face and exited, and even closed the door for her. After exiting the door, Yejing secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, he ran fast, otherwise another life would have been lost. Yejing shook his head. When he walked outside the door of his room, he suddenly stopped. From the other side, another voice came. "This is Zhao's horizontal bar room. I'll do it. There will be no end, no more people to practice." Yejing cursed secretly, walked directly to the door of Zhao Hanban's room, kicked the door open very roughly, and treated Zhao Hanban not so gently. In the room, Zhao Xingbar was squatting under the corner of the wall, using his golden shovel to dig into the corner. When he heard the loud noise, he trembled all over and was startled. He suddenly turned his head and saw Yejing Hao. He breathed a sigh of relief again and complained, "You almost scared me to death. You said you had nothing to do and left, but I was still busy." Yejing said with a dark face, "Are you just busy poaching others' corners?" Zhao Xingbang's face froze, "I have an occupational disease. You don't understand even if I tell you. Don't delay me from making money. Let's go quickly." "I don't understand." Yejing sneered and said lightly, "How about replacing it with someone who understands? For example, the big leader, let her see how her perfect main ship was leaked." Zhao Xingbang said angrily, "I didn't dig up your stuff, why are you blabbering? I can't afford to lose this person." Yejing said expressionlessly, "Either stop or call the police, choose one. It's really troublesome. You've wasted the obsidian I gave you." Zhao Xingbang muttered, but still stopped what he was doing. He didn't like the corner of the floor, it was just that his hands were itchy. This tomb robbing job is a job that requires practice, just like a chef. You can't stop. Once you stop, your hands will become unfamiliar. He hasn't been to other people's cemeteries for a long time. He can only dig for treasures to satisfy his pleasure. You'd better be honest. Don't implicate me." Yejing glared at him fiercely, left a warning, and turned back to his room. After returning to his room, he was in no mood to practice. He took off his clothes and went to bed. While sleeping, Yejing felt that his room door was opened in a daze, and a black shadow came in and climbed onto his bed. Then, after receiving a fatal blow, the war's sorrow is triggered, and the strength, destructive power, and speed are increased by 100% when attacking. The blood is sucked by 20%, which lasts for 1 minute and cools down for 3 days. The sudden outbreak of the war's sorrow instantly awakened Yejing. He stood up suddenly, looked at the figure in front of him with a horrified face, and instantly broke out in a cold sweat. I saw Xiao Qinglian secretly climbed onto his bed at some point, holding up her white and tender little fist, facing his forehead when he lay down. Is she here to kill and silence him? What do you want to do? Yejing hurriedly shouted. His last life-saving skill was hammered out by Xiao Qinglian. If he hit him again, he might really die. Xiao Qinglian's pair of emerald green eyes were wide open, with a silly face, as if she didn't expect Yejing to wake up. What should I do? I saw Xiao Qinglian raised her fist and gently hammered Yejing's chest. Let me help you massage your back. Are you fooling a fool? This is the chest. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Buletin Ji Bayet. Chapter 345. The next day, when Yejing got up, he felt some pain in the back of his head, but he couldn't think of anything. He probably hit himself on the head by accident while sleeping at night. The journey of nearly a month was uneventful. After many days, Yejing successfully advanced to the 6th level of the underground palace realm, and the heavenly spirit divine sea expanded by another circle. Hey, practicing by yourself is troublesome. It's really not as practical as eating the spiritual energy leaked from the furnace. Yejing sighed. He also wanted to keep eating the spiritual energy leaking from the furnace, but unfortunately the economy didn't allow it. During this month, large fleets have continued to arrive in the outer city. Compared with the real fleets of major forces, the Baidu Star Pirates group is still slightly weaker. Among them, as the protagonist of the auction in the outer city, the Holy Light Chamber of Commerce arrived in the outer city more than 20 days ago, and their lineup is even more luxurious. A 5,000-meter super battleship Holy Light City is the main force, supplemented by 13,000-meter main ships, surrounding the Holy Light Tower to protect it. And around the 13,000-meter main ships, there were thousands of interstellar warships. When such a fleet arrived at the outer city, the entire sky above the outer city was covered. The Holy Light Chamber of Commerce also released news before that this time the final auction will be held in the Holy Light City, led by a semi-saint invited from the Titans of Saturn. Maybe there are more forces coming this time, and the outer city cannot accommodate them. The fleets of all forces will stay on the outer planet and are not allowed to float around the outer city. When they were approaching the outer city, Yejing also walked out of the room. He first went to Xiao Qinglian's room and asked her to go to the cab with him to get off the plane. Open the door, it's me. Yejing did not go in rashly this time. After knocking on the door, he waited. What's up? The door opened, just a crack, and Xiao Qinglian stretched out her head and looked at Yejing cautiously. We're about to get there, get ready to go to the cab. Yejing said. He didn't even look inside the room. Just thinking about it, he knew that even the bed frame was probably eaten away. I really don't know what the use of her eating so much energy is, and I haven't seen her grow. Finally here. Xiao Qinglian slipped out of the room in a flash and slammed the door hard. The whole process took less than a second, and she couldn't see anything inside. After getting her out of the room, Yejing kicked Zhao Xingban's door again and shouted in a bad tone, "Get out and get out of the car. This guy is so annoying. He hears crunching and digging every night, and the harsh sound makes Yejing's head hurt." Coming. Zhao Horizontal Bar did the same, only opened a crack and got out of the room. The three of them headed straight to the cab. In the cab, Wu Hongkai was sitting in the main seat, wearing a headset, cursing and not knowing what he was talking about. On the large screen more than 10 meters long, the image of the sea of stars is showing. In the dark and endless universe, the stars are shining all over the sky. I told you that we are not called the pirate group, we are called the security group. Don't you understand human language? The flag is the flag, and the name is the name. When our Baidu Star security group does business in the sea of stars, we must always be on guard against those wise and powerful pirates. Don't put us together with those dirty star pirates, we can't afford to lose this person. I don't know what the hell she was arguing about. Xiao Qinglian came to Wu Hongkai's side as if no one else was around, and Yejing found a place to sit down by himself. Both of them treated themselves as if they were at home, without any restraint. Zhao Hanban hesitated for a moment and then cautiously reached Yejing's side. So, you guys in the office are all trash, get out of here. Wu Hongqiu hung up the call with an angry face, pulled off the headset, threw it heavily to the ground, and stomped on her high heels a few times. What's wrong? Xiao Qinglian wondered. This was the first time she saw Wu Hongqiu spitting out fragrance and being so angry. No big deal. Wu Hongqiu stretched out his hand, rubbed the center of his eyebrows, and took a breath and said, "We need to keep the fleet in the extraterritorial star, but the staff of the extraterritorial city allocated a place for military belts of other brands. I can't be angry. Just a few words. So you changed your name to Baidu Star Security Group?" Sure. Just after Wu Hongqiu hung up the phone, a very small aircraft flew out from the extraterrestrial planet, flew into the sky at extremely fast speed, and stopped the Tianxia ship at the front. Who is coming? The voices of the three leaders who commanded the entire fleet came out. The staff of the extraterrestrial planet will guide you to land. Please let me see your leader. With such an aircraft less than 10 meters long, facing a huge fleet, if it didn't have energy detection, it would probably not be discovered even if it was crushed over it. After a while, the three leaders led a young man in formal attire into the room. He was young, only in his 20s. He had a straight figure and a plain face, with no trace of nervousness. This is a staff member from an extraterrestrial planet. This is our big leader. After the three leaders finished their introduction, they turned around and left. He was also responsible for the landing of the entire fleet. "Hello, I am the staff member who guided the Baidu Star pirates to land," Lu Yu. The young man looked directly at Wu Hongqiu and said in a neither humble nor condescending manner. "We are the Big Dipper Security Group, make no mistake about it," Wu Hongqiu reminded solemnly. She looked at Lu Yu suspiciously and asked, "Why do I feel your voice is so familiar?" Lu Yu said expressionlessly, "I am the fat guy sitting in the office you mentioned." "Here," he came to my door. Wu Hongqiu grinned and changed the subject awkwardly, "Tell me, where should we land?" Lu Yu didn't say anything. After all, Wu Hongqiu's appearance and strength are here. He walked to the star map in the cab and pointed. "Here, in the east of the extraterritorial star land, is the station of our human forces. Your fleet just needs to stop at this point." He gently tapped the east of the star map and made a small mark. "Okay." Wu Hongqiu responded, and then passed the star map to the three leaders. "Is there anything else to pay attention to?" Wu Hongqiu asked. After thinking about it, Lu Yu gave a few instructions. 1. Don't make trouble, land safely. 2. No fighting in the outer city. 3. Prepare more money, no more. After saying that, he saluted Wu Hongqiu slightly, turned around and left. He had other work to do. The fleet is large, but the outer space is even larger. It took 3 hours for the Tianxia ship to land steadily on the assigned land. Finally, it's here. Thanks to Tian Xinling for the reward. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bouletin G. Bayet. Chapter 346. Looking down from the extraterrestrial planet, densely packed battleships lined up side by side, with less than 5 kilometers between each fleet. Above the main ship at the forefront of the fleet, the star flags of each force are hung. Those nearby are all human forces, and most of them are from Blue Star. Among them were some names that Ye Jing'er had heard of. For example, Li Wangcheng in Thunder Hong Kong banner. For example, Wan Jiangxian Changjiao Group. For example, a crescent moon rises in the Crescent Empire. For example, there is only the Black Emperor flag, which is as dark as an abyss. There is also a black god flag with a sword on the head of the god, etc. Li Wangcheng? Could it be that King Li is here too? Is that the Black Emperor's flag of the Dark Realm? Isn't the Emperor of the Dark Realm coming too? Yejing muttered, who knows if those big guys will come to the outer city specifically for a walk, not necessarily, maybe they will go directly to Pluto. Although the power of the Big Dipper pirate group is not small, it is still several levels weaker than the big forces known as Blue Star. Perhaps because of Wu Hongqiu's strong resistance, they were not separated into two remote areas, but the territory they were divided was a bit small, and the fleet was a bit crowded. After landing, Yejing seemed to be invisible, quietly following behind Wu Hongqiu and Xiao Qinglian. This was not Blue Star. If he really got into trouble, no one could save him. Zhao Xingbang was more honest. He put away all the golden shovels he carried with him, lowered his head and followed Yejing quietly. Yejing looked at the cowardly Zhao Hanbang with a puzzled look on his face, and with a thought in his heart, he asked, "Have you been to the outer city?" Zhao Xingbang smiled awkwardly, "I came here once and caused some trouble." "What's up?" "There was a big boss who was chased to an outer city. He was afraid that he would die suddenly and have no inheritance, so he first bought himself a tomb and put his inheritance and treasures in it, so that I could dig them up accidentally." Yejing said in surprise, "You dig the graves of living people? Are you willing to die?" Zhao Xingbang looked aggrieved, "I thought he was dead. Who knew his enemies were so incompetent?" "What rank?" "At the peak of the extraordinary realm, I don't know if I have become a saint now." Yejing took a breath of air, gave him a sad look, and quickly distanced the two of them. There was no need to get involved in this kind of thing, and he deserved to die. They followed Wu Hongqiu and the others silently off the main ship. The moment they stepped onto the extraterrestrial planet, a black shadow suddenly jumped out and pounced on Wu Hongqiu. "Sister, it's been a long time since I last saw you and I miss you so much." Wu Hongqiu's face was expressionless, as if he already knew it. He raised his hand and slapped the black shadow away. "Xiaoxi, you live a really cool life. You can't see anyone all year round." After the black shadow got up from the ground, he saw the appearance of the man clearly. He was a sloppy uncle with long, messy hair and stubble on his face. It would be wrong to call him an uncle. He looked about 30 years old, and he was probably over 100 years old. This sentence of little 4 is really picturesque, and I can tell from the side that Wu Hongqiu is definitely not too young. The four leaders patted the dust on their bodies and came over again, with a lewd smile on their faces. "Isn't it too busy? There are many, many things to do." Wu Hongqiu looked at him coldly, like eating, drinking, whoring, and gambling. The four leaders' expressions froze, and they were too embarrassed to look directly at Wu Hongqiu's cold and piercing gaze. They couldn't help but turn around. When they saw Xiao Qinglian, their eyes lit up and they stepped over in 2 steps. "Qinglian, long time no see, this is a gift for you." Originally, Xiao Qinglian didn't want to talk to him, but when she saw Lao Si hand over a fist-sized piece of high-grade energy, she suddenly smiled. "Thank you, Xiaoxi." After Xiao Qinglian grabbed the high-level energy, she stuffed it into her mouth instinctively. At this moment, the four leaders moved again. Under the shocked gazes of Yejing and Zhao Xingba, he inserted his greasy hands into Xiao Qing's mouth. Lotus's armpit. Then, he raised her petite body above her head. "Qinglian looks so cute. Come on, lift it up high." In an instant, Xiao Qinglian's face changed from normal to shameful and angry. It turned dark in an instant. She raised her leg and kicked the four leaders on the forehead. This is what a ruthless person is. This is why Xiao Qinglian doesn't want to pay attention to him. Every time they meet, he teases her regardless of his own safety. "Okay, stop making trouble. Is the accommodation I asked you to prepare ready?" Wu Hongqiu said with a helpless look, "It's so embarrassing to be fooling around in a place like this. Didn't you see that she had calmed down?" The fourth leader got up from the ground again, patted the dust on his body, and said calmly, I bought a 100 square meter house in the outer city and spent 100 million spiritual stones. Don't forget to reimburse me later. 100 square meters, 100 million spiritual stones, this price is the real price of every inch of land. Follow me. There are roads and aircraft that lead directly to the outer city. After the four leaders finished speaking, they turned their attention to Yejing and Zhao Xingbang and asked hesitantly, "Who are these two young men?" Recently, many young people have appeared in the outer city. They all followed their elders to see the world. All of them have a good background and cannot be offended by anyone. It seems that he also regards Yejing and others as the second generation. Wu Hongqiu introduced him casually, the new member of the family, Xiao Qinglian's follower. "Oh, one of my own." The four leaders suddenly realized and flashed to Yejing and the other two. They put their arms around their shoulders and winked at them, saying, "There's no need to be polite among family members. I'll invite you to go out and play tonight. We'll play all night." What a frivolous person. Yejing's mouth twitched. He wouldn't be fooled again. Gray had said the same thing to him before. Then, he really went for a massage. Walking past where they parked their fleet, they saw a road leading to the distance not far away. On both sides of the road, there were rows of aircraft parked. These were all provided as means of transportation for them. They would be recycled after arriving at the outer city. Just as he walked to the side of the aircraft, Yejing glanced at the people around him casually and suddenly stopped. He saw someone he knew. That was the team from Li Wangcheng, who had just come out of the fleet. Among the group, Yejing had sharp eyes and locked onto them directly. That was Li Hui, the former lord of Gukan. Unexpectedly, he also went to the outer city with the team. As if sensing the presence of his gaze, Li Hui also turned his head to look over here. When he saw Yejing, he was slightly startled. He did not expect to meet Yejing in such a place. But he did not say anything, just nodded slightly, and then followed the team to leave. "Do you know anyone?" The four leaders followed Yejing's gaze and narrowed their eyes when they saw that it was someone from Li Wangcheng. Yejing nodded, "The elders who have received favors in the past, let's go visit them later." After several people got on the aircraft, they drove for more than an hour and finally arrived at the destination. Yawai City. Why are all of them passive skills? Author, Bulletin G. Bayet. Chapter 347. Above the outer city, a pure white super battleship was quietly parked. It was the main ship of the Holy Light Chamber of Commerce and the protagonist of this auction, Holy Light City. The main ship Holy Light City is more than 5,000 meters long, more than 2,000 meters wide, and dozens of meters high. It consists of more than a dozen floors of buildings. When the final auction starts, this Holy Light City will be open to all major forces. Of course, not everyone is qualified to go to Holy Light City to participate in the final auction. The reserve price is 100 million spirit stones. This is a personal bottom line. What is the auction? A place to compete for financial strength. You can't play without money. When Yejing saw the Holy Light City ship floating in the sky, he thought that he had another goal. At the beginning of the auction, he had to collect 100 million spirit stones. Didn't he come to the outer city from afar with the Big Dipper fleet just to participate in the large-scale auction held every 3 years? His own furnace has not been upgraded for a long time. Since the day he got it, he has only been upgraded once. He didn't have any high-level energy needed for advancement, and he probably couldn't buy too much in the ordinary trading market. Only at the final auction could he buy a large amount of high-level energy to upgrade his furnace. And buying high-level energy also requires money. Thinking of this, Yejing couldn't help but sigh, with a sad face. "Young man, why are you so depressed at such a young age?" Maybe because the people who suppress him are all women, the four leaders are more intimate with men. Seeing Yejing's gloomy face, they came over curiously. Yejing said faintly, I don't have money, and I don't have a way to make money quickly. A way to make money quickly. The four leaders' eyes lit up and whispered, I have it. Do you want me to take you to participate? Yejing's heart moved, and he hurriedly asked, what way? Playing cards, gambling. After hearing these words, Yejing immediately lost interest. I am a socialist youth. I don't gamble. Goodbye. Hey. Don't leave. Gambling makes money really fast. Drug trafficking makes money fast, but this kind of illegal thing cannot be touched at all. The streets of the outer city are very wide. The first street after entering the city gate is 20 meters wide. Next to the street, there is a huge sign with black letters on a silver background. Titans, don't enter this gate. The Titans are also called giants. Not to mention their weight, their height alone starts at 10 meters. Walking on the streets of the outer city, they are very eye-catching and often attract onlookers and traffic jams. So in the outer city, a back door was opened for the Titans, allowing them to reach the back door of the inner city. On the way to his residence, Yejing looked around, smacked his lips from time to time, and praised a few words. It really opened his eyes. As for the alien races, he had only seen fire demons in Lonely City. Low-level fire demons had no form at all, just elemental bodies, while high-level fire demons had fixed forms, which should have been transformed from elemental bodies, and their forms were very similar to humans. I had also encountered the elves before, which were also humanoid, but some parts were not quite the same. In fact, most of the alien races in the solar system are in human form. I don't know if it's because of the gene, or if the human form is equal to the final evolutionary form. Others are easy to say, if it's because of genetic reasons. What on earth did our ancestors do to make alien races appear? Along the way, Yejing saw the ghost fire boy riding the thunder and fire lion swaggering in the market, unscrupulous. Saw a giant more than 10 meters tall setting up a stall to sell rag dolls. Saw a fire demon with flames burning all over his body performing on the street. Saw the slave traders of the Sea King family selling mermaids, shameful. Are the people in the outer city so poor? Zhao Danggong, who was standing by, saw Yejing's surprise and came over to explain in a low voice, you haven't been to Yawai City, so you don't know that the prices of goods and houses here are super high. How high? Eating a meal can make you a beggar. Yejing was slightly stunned and said, what kind of food is that? Dragon liver and phoenix gall. Zhao Danggong nodded seriously, yes, if you have money, eating dragons is not a problem. While speaking, Yejing's eyes suddenly darkened, as if the sky was covered. Look, it's coming. Zhao Danggong pointed to the sky and motioned Yejing to look up. When Yejing looked up, his pupils shrank sharply and his face was full of shock. In the sky of Yawai City, a huge monster flew out at some point. It was a fat frost dragon. The frost dragon, which was several hundred meters long, spread its blue wings. As it flapped its wings, a bone-chilling cold wind swept over. Thick ice energy condensed inadvertently, and dozens of heavy icicles fell from the sky. The huge figure of the frost dragon flashed by and flew over. No one knew where it flew to. When the frost dragon flew over, the originally peaceful streets suddenly went wild. One by one, the practitioners who had hidden their cultivation like passers-by suddenly burst out, and the terrifying energy and might leaned over. In the blink of an eye, they chased in the direction of the frost dragon. This should be a little dragon that just left home. Zhao Danggong said with certainty, a trace of greed flashed in his eyes. Why do you say that? Yejing asked in confusion. Zhao Xiangbang rolled his eyes, this is an outer city, a place that 33 doesn't care about. A rare giant dragon is flying in the sky so blatantly, isn't it looking for death? Watch it, that blue dragon has been targeted. As long as it dares to fly out of the outer city, it will be served to the dinner table the next day. After all, today's practitioners are all short of money. Yejing. It seems that no city is easy to get along with. Since they had just arrived in the outer city, they had no means of transportation, so they walked around the streets for more than an hour before arriving at the house the four leaders mentioned. It's hard to say where the house is located. Anyway, it's still very far away from the center of the outer city. But in such a place, a house 100 meters away would cost 100 million spirit stones. The four leaders pushed open the door of the house and said as they walked, "The owner of this house heard that his enemy was killed, so he took action at a low price and went back to his hometown. Fortunately, I happened to be passing by at the time and had my beard cut off. Otherwise, at this time, I wouldn't have been able to buy it for even 200 million, let alone 100 million. There are 5 villas in the mansion, and the total number of rooms is probably 34. However, they brought thousands of people. Even excluding the staff whose activities were limited to battleships, there were still several hundred people, which was simply not enough to live in. Those people? Let those people live on the streets. If you have money, you can stay in a hotel for hundreds of thousands of spiritual stones a night." The four leaders curled their lips and said nonchalantly,